Hello and good morning. This is Andy McCann coming to you from Woodstock, Georgia, where I own CrossFit Garage. And today on how to lay a firm foundation in fitness, food, and finance, we're going to go back into things you should know. And this time it's about your car. So not only is it things you should know, it's if you know how to do these things, you can save yourself money and time. Probably the biggest one on the car is you're going to change your oil about every 3,000 or 5,000 miles. It costs, actually, what does it cost? Let's pull that up. Let's go for what is the average cost of an oil change? Let's see. On a, I don't know, Honda Pilot. How about that? Honda Pilot. I love it now when you do a search, it just says, hey, here's our AI option. And then you got other links. This has to kill all the links. I don't really click on much of anything these days. So anyway, it's pulling up and says it's about $150 on average for an oil change for a Honda Pilot. So I know that we just did our Evie's car, and she's got a Honda Pilot. And that's actually my wife's old car. And we spent, I think we spent $50 and we overbought on some things because I bought extra bits and things to use on other cars. So anyway, that's 3 times the cost. So can you save money doing it yourself? Yes. Is the real question is any of this stuff hard? The answer is no. Now, unfortunately, if you get it wrong, you can screw up your engine. So for example, you forget or you don't tighten the drain plug on your oil pan, and it wobbles out and then drips all your oil out, and you drive around not thinking about it, well, or not knowing or understanding what's going on, yeah, you're pretty much going to have a dead engine, or something else serious will happen. It'll lock up. The whole reason the oil is in there is oil is a lubricant that can take high temperatures, and it's not going to combust in your engine like the gasoline will. So you need to have oil in your engine floating around. Now, actually, kind of a cool thing that I'm trying out, I don't know if this is for real or not, but when you put an oil filter on, the oil filter is supposed to catch the bits and pieces that are come off in the engine when you machine it. So I saw a guy take a magnet, just a large O or 0O, whatever magnet, in shape, and put it on the back of the filter. And so if there are bits and pieces and they're metal and they're floating around, the filter's filtering them out, then what if I'll go ahead and collect them on the casing because I have a magnet there to help ensure they don't circulate back through? Is that even better for your car? The answer is, I don't know, but the magnet was like $5 and you can just place it on each oil filter as you change them. So I thought, I'll give it a shot. Maybe it helps. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but it was an interesting one. So, okay, I'm going to go through a couple things about your car. If you've got new drivers, like I know Coach Jamie, her son Jake is about to be a new driver all on his own. He should know these sort of things. If you've got kids that are driving that are still in high school, they should know this stuff. If you've got a kid that's coming out of college and they're getting that first job, they probably are going to start swapping their time with money. So they're buying back their time with the money they're earning. And that's cool. So we're not talking about kind of that phase, though. I would say it's probably important for people to know this stuff because you drive your car. It is one of the ultimate tools of freedom and choice that we're given. You can literally, if you don't like your surroundings, you can get in your car, and if you have enough cash and your car works, you can drive to Alaska and you can live there. And because it's America, you don't need any paperwork. You just show up and be like, I live here now. And they're going to be like, okay, great. We're happy to have you. It is kind of weird to think about it. If you're in Europe, you can get up and change cities, but you cannot drive like you can in America. You can go from Georgia to Alaska and nobody cares. Okay. So let me jump into this bad boy. First thing I would tell you is check your tire pressure. Most cars these days, if they're on the newish side and they have a dashboard that's digital, they may even read your the tire pressure. So you may not have to do anything. You literally just have to click some buttons and look at it. Dude, that's super awesome. I would, every time I change the oil, check my tires. You could also know how to visually inspect. If they're pushing out a bit, probably too low. What's the proper amount of air in a tire? It depends not only on the tire. And if you move away from the standard tire that the car is asking for, you change rims and all that stuff, then you have to figure that one out. You have to check the tire and be very specific about what you're doing. Typically, though, if you open up your car door, usually the driver's side door, there is a sticker on the rim that is on the frame of the car. Actually, sometimes it's on the door, but it actually has the PSI and other things for the tire. So if you're unsure, open the door and look, and you can find that. It's really not that complicated. Used to be able to go to any gas station, put a few quarters in their air compressor, and then pump up your tire. Not many of them have that anymore because who carries quarters around, right? So you can get a pressure gauge pretty cheap from, a lot of places, Home Depot, Napa, whatever. You can go to any auto parts store and get a pressure gauge. What I would probably suggest is not just get a pressure gauge, but go ahead and get a compressor from like Home Depot. And it doesn't have to be big. I've got one and it's maybe a third of a shoebox is how big it is. It's pretty small. It plugs directly into the wall. It's got a short cable, so you got to extension cord it, and then you just plug it in, push down the depressor, and hit start, and it'll start pumping up your tire. Now, anytime you pump up your tire with one of those, when you turn it off, the pressure gauge is going to drop a bit. So you always want to go over whatever it is that you want. Realize also, as you drive, cold tires will have less pressure and hot tires will have more pressure. If you care, the reason for that is described in PV equals nRT. Let's see if I can get that to pull up. PV equals nRT. The ideal gas law. Look at that, man. I love it. They know this stuff. So PV, pressure times volume, equals NR. Those are two constants from a table, and T, temperature. So basically, pressure and volume are on the opposite side of the equation as temperature. So if your temperature goes up, the pressure and volume, one of those needs to go up to balance the equation. Since the volume of the tire won't change, the pressure goes up. So as the temperature goes up, your pressure goes up so that the equation is equal. So if you put an extra apple on the temperature side, you have to put an extra apple on the pressure volume side. That's how that works. That's math. If temperature go down, then pressure go down. Otherwise, the volume needs to shrink. So if you ever had a balloon and during the day in the party, you have them out and they're outside on the mailbox, let's say, and they're, up high and they're floating and they're big and all like beautiful. Then you come out in the morning and they're on the ground and kind of deflated looking. And then by noon or 2 p.m., they're back up. That's the temperature. There's pressure and volume, right? So in this case, the volume of the balloon is going to change, not the pressure, because it's a balloon. All right. PV equals nRT. That is the equation. And here's the funny thing, because I don't actually understand this rule, N and R are constants they put into the formula. So it's kind of dumb. They have two that they have to use. You have to look up a table and figure out what you're using. So what it means is they don't really know why this works and how it works. And the equation they've got isn't great. So they put all these constants in there, N and R, to kind of fix the equation to make it work better. I think one of the kids said they changed it. So they made N and R one thing and now it's a K or something. I don't know. But that's my nerd for you, right? How smart is Andy? Not very. Actually, when it comes to numbers, pretty smart. When it comes to social situations, I am not. So yeah, there you go. All right. So changing a tire. Changing a tire is pretty dang important. Everyone, it is annoying and a pain in the butt to say, guys, let's actually change this tire and figure out how to do it. Probably what I would do is show them, look, here's the jack. Here is the spare tire. And also, please pump up your spare tire. Don't let it be underinflated as well. The place you put your jack is important. In this picture right here, you can see that he's got the jack right behind the front tire. And yes, that is true. That's about where you're going to put it. But if you look under the car, they actually have a space designated for the jack. And the reason is it's a place where they know the car can be supported at this one point. So if you look under there, you'll see a spot that's like, oh, the jack goes right here. It'll be kind of obvious. So you want to check that out. I don't like the jack that they show right here. Pretty much every car has it. What you want to do, it's like super not convenient. Like, how does this thing even work? Typically, they give you a iron bar with a hook on the end, like a candy cane. And then it's got at the other side of where the hook isn't, the other side is a flat piece. That flat piece would slide onto your tire iron. So your tire iron is what you would crack the nuts on and take off the nuts basically for the tire. So that little bit goes together, giving you the ability to hold the candy cane in one hand, say your right hand, and your left hand, you can winch the tire iron so that you're basically making a big wheel right out of it, right? You're just going around and around and around, and that turns that little irritating device, and that's how you make it go faster. Some people try to twist it with their hands, or they slide the thing through and they try to, like, I don't know, ninja stick this thing. It's not that complicated. The pieces go together. But let me see if I can find a picture where they've actually done that, because if you've never done it, you're like, well, oh, here's one right there. So here's a picture of it. You can kind of see it. So he's got the candy cane thing. He's slid the candy cane piece through the hooks on the jack, and then the tire iron slides over the end piece of the candy cane, and you just twist it round and round. Yeah. So I actually just recently purchased a jack like this guy. It's a big, heavy duty, like, I don't know, 2-ton jack, because I have trucks and a tractor. At the time, I needed to jack up the tractor to put a new tire on it. But then I watched somebody else's video and he's like, you don't need a jack. All you have to do is take the bucket if you've got one and push down, and it raises the tractor. I'm like, oh, damn it. That's correct. And I've done that before. So anyway, I bought this jack, but it became useful. I used it for fixing the car or the tractor the other day. Okay. So when you take your tire iron on the nut, do not jack your car up first and then try to loosen the nuts. What you want to do is loosen all of the nuts. Usually there's 4 or 5 lug nuts holding the tire on for the wheel. And righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you're like, dude, I can't move this. This is too tough. Make the tire iron stand out 90 degrees, so parallel to the earth, and then stand on the end of it. And if you have to, bounce up and down a little bit. You will crack that nut. When I say crack it, it's like really, it's usually on there too tight, and it's hard to get off, and that's good because you don't want your tire to roll off. It'll go and it'll slide down a bit, and that's cool. All you really need to do is crack it. The reason you don't want to jack first is because you need the friction power of weight and the earth on the tire, because if you try to crack the tire and you can't like emergency lock the brakes or whatever, then the tire is just going to spin as you try to undo it, and it's super annoying. So don't do that. Crack them first and then jack the tire up and crack them. So typically what I'll do is I'll loosen them up, and then I'll push my feet on the tire, so I'll hold it steady, and then I'll loosen them all up by hand. So as you loosen the last one up, of course, it wants to tilt, so it gets kind of hard to take off. That's why I press it with my feet. Take them all the way off, stand up, pull the tire off, do your change, put them back on. When you tighten them back up, you want to do like star configuration, and don't tighten them all the way down. So you start, let's say, on the top one, and then you're going to go, bottom left, and then you're going to go to the one on the right, and then over on the left, and then down the bottom right. And you get them hand tight and wiggle the tire, make sure it's on the correct way, and hand tighten them all again, and then wiggle it again, make sure it's all on symmetric and smooth, and then hand tight. And then you'll lower the car and press them all the way down so that they're engaged fully. Okay, typically your tire is in the trunk underneath a cardboard flap that you can lift up. Sometimes they're under the car, but you access it from the trunk. You have to like unscrew something or lower it down to get it off a holding device, right? Some cars, like minivans, have the spare tire in the middle. Why? I don't know, but that's where it is. So you need to know where those things are. Many times they take the tools and they put them next to the tire or in the wall of the trunk. So you have to like pop 2 clips and then pull that off so you can get to all of your goodies, your gear. This picture right here shows them on top of your tire, laying in a very nice, I've never seen one like this. Somebody made this because they've got a form where everything fits directly in. I've owned a lot of cars and I have never seen that. So yeah, that's not true. All right, next good one is how to jump a battery. In addition to jumping a battery, a thing you may consider doing is having a jump bag or box. So you can get this thing on Amazon. And actually, here's one right here. Here's a picture of it. I love it. It's a little box, maybe the size of a couple cell phones. And anyway, it'll have a red clip and a black clip, and you use that to jump your car. So what you don't do with this, all of my kids have them in the car, and we did talk about it. And my kids are pretty dang smart. But they forgot. And Levi said, hey, the car won't start. As I take your jump pack out, red goes to red, black goes to black. And typically black doesn't have to go to black. You can like put it on your car somewhere else. But go ahead and put red and then black. And he said, okay, I let it sit there for 30 minutes and then I let it charge the battery so I could turn the car on. No, that's not what it's doing. It does not charge your battery. It uses this little battery to jump the car. So you got maybe 2 or 3 jumps before it's completely depleted, but you don't want its juice, the electricity charge, to go into your battery. You want the car to jump off of it. So once you connect it, get in your car and turn that stuff on, because it's not going to last very long. Okay, so I would recommend having one of those. In these pictures that I've got, so you see every one of these guys to jump a car. They're like, hey, red on red, black on black. Yes. And they're like, what if I collect and touch and it sparks and all that? Look, here's the easy thing. If you're going to jump from a car to a car, just turn both cars off. And then you won't get all the crazy sparking and all that, right? So if you're unsure, just go red to red, black to black, and you're good to go, right? Everything's fine. If you don't have to connect the jumping car, actually, let me make sure I'm saying that correct. The car that's working, you can attach to anywhere on the engine, an engine block, like any piece of metal that's connected to the framework of the car, that would be fine. Actually, let me double check that, because I'm saying it now. My brain's going, is that right? Is it that car? I typically go battery to battery because I never remember this part. Oh, look, it's giving me I clicked ask. Interesting. Now when I click ask, it goes directly to a AI page. I think it did that last time. That's pretty cool. I am super impressed where the internet is going. I love technology. Let me see. I'm going to pause you guys and see if I can find out where it says it. Yeah, I love it. They call it a donor battery. So I'm donating my charge. So I've never followed this exact system. I just make sure everything's off. But their system that it's saying is, first, the dead battery, red positive. Then the good battery, red positive. And then the good car, black, goes on the battery, and the bad car, black, goes on, it can go on anything. So that goes on the engine block. It goes on, typically what I'll do is when you drop the hood, it clicks into a hooking device. I just clip right onto that because it's easy to get to. The annoying part is, where's my battery and how do I get to it? So on the Ford F-150, there is a casing over it. So you kind of have to take the casing off sometimes to get to the places you want to get to. On the Honda Pilot, the air intake is covering it, which is why I never go to the negative on that. So I can get to the positive easy, but the negative isn't. So I always attach to the car's frame and it works. It's just a pain in the butt to take that air intake section off. Okay. So jumping a battery. Know where your battery is and know how to do that. Changing your battery. This is what many people don't know this. So if your car is going like chung, 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 as you try to start it, the battery is just dying or dead. If it's trying to turn over, that could be a starter. Easiest thing to do is this. You go to any auto parts store and you go, hey, come outside and look at my car. Would you test my battery? They'll test it. Of course, if you can't drive anywhere, that's a problem, right? Or if you can't get your car to start, they will do a test on it. They want to sell you a battery. They'll even install it right there for you. It doesn't take much time. It's super easy. But you can say, hey, I would like to buy and have you install a battery. I would always buy a 5-year battery because they never last 5 years. If you buy a 1-year or 2-year battery, then they're going to last way less than that. Get a 5-year battery, mark it in your calendar. Hey, I bought this battery on this date. In 3 years, check this battery. The batteries will just lose effectiveness and you'll just get rid of them. It's like any other battery, right? You can do some things to prolong that, like fill it with distilled water if they're not sealed all the way. If you're like, wait, what? Am I putting distilled water? Why would I put water in a battery? Don't do it then. If you don't understand that, just don't bother with it. It's not a big deal. But you can make your battery live longer. Actually, just put it in YouTube. Say, why would I put distilled water into my car's battery? It'll tell you why you're doing that. It's electrolysis, man. Okay, so how to check your oil. That's a good one. Should you check your oil? There are dashboard indicators that say, hey, you have low or high pressure. If you have low pressure, you're probably burning oil. If you hit the gas or turn your car on and it goes boom, boom, and it spits out stuff, you're probably burning some oil. So if you're losing oil, then you want to replace that oil. Do you have to change your oil in that case? No, you still can wait 5,000 miles if you're using synthetic oil, or 3,000 if you're using regular, but there is a dipstick in your car and you're going to reach over and find that and pull it out. So let me see if I can find a good picture. All of these show it sort of already out. I would like a picture of it. They're semi-hidden. Now, if you notice in all these pictures, the dipstick usually is orange, red, or yellow on the handle, on the little O-ring. Here's a good picture. Yeah, so there's a red one, and it's off to the side, and it's usually near the oil cap, somewhere-ish. Ours are always seem to be on like down low on the engine block. Let's see. I don't just have really good pictures. Why? You think they would give me what I'm looking for, dog? Maybe like this one. So yeah, it's off to the side and kind of hidden down low, but you could see it's that faded orange color. So it's not hard to tell. What you would do is pull it out, wipe it off, stick it back in, and then pull it out one more time. At the end of the stick is some hash marks like this guy right here. The oil will stick to those hash marks and you can kind of see where you're at. The top is full, the bottom is low or it's too low or empty or whatever, right? And you could also look at the color. If it's super dark and gross, like you'd want to drink it like coffee, then yeah, you probably need to change your oil. If it's somewhat transparent, then it's still doing its job, lubricating and good. You can wait some time, right? So check your oil. A good saver for that is, hey, if I know my engine's burning oil, there's a problem here, right? I should probably add some oil. How much oil and how often? You're going to have to map that puppy out. But if you don't and you wait, then your engine could seize up because it doesn't have enough oil to do what it needs to do and stay lubricated. So you're going to save yourself money simply by checking and knowing. How often do I check the oil? Hardly ever. Obviously I do it when I do an oil change because I make sure I've filled it all the way up. But I never see clouds coming out, and I've never noticed a huge problem in the oil. So the way you would know this is I just changed my oil. I had a big 5-quart and then a 1-quart because my engine takes 6 quarts of oil. I took all the oil out and I took the filter off. And then I put everything back together, poured all the oil in. I took the 2 containers, the 5-quart and the 1-quart, and I took the old oil and I poured it back in, and it didn't fill it all the way up like the original packaging, right? So I lost some somewhere. Yes, there's oil still in the engine somewhere. Yes, it didn't drain out completely. Yes, the filter, even though I dumped it, is going to have some oil still in it. So yeah, I know it's not going to match up completely. But if you fill up the 5-quart and there's not even a quart to fill up the other side, right? Then you burned a quart of oil or dripped or something. That's a problem. You should be aware of that and you should go check that out. You don't want these things to compound. Basically, you're saving yourself time and money by knowing a little bit about your car. Can you change your own tire? Yeah. Should you align your own tires? There is a way to do it, but usually you do that when you get new tires and you can't make tires. You're going to have to go buy those. Okay. So I mentioned some of the dashboard lights. I'll get in that in a second. Changing the oil in a car. What are my images for that? How does it work? It's not complicated. There is a drain plug in the base where the oil is like contained underneath your car. So you're going to have to jack it up or slide under there. Evie and I can slide under the car to get to her Honda Pilot, but it is a tight fit. Usually it's about a 15 millimeter nut that you're going to have to put or socket over the top of that to crack it and get it off. But you want to put some sort of drain pan under there because when you take that nut off, the oil is going to spit out. Don't change your oil after you've driven it. It'll be hot and you're going to hurt yourself. The oil will spit out because it's under pressure, and then it will die off, right? Because it's pouring. Now, to start the whole process, pull the dipstick out a bit and take off the oil cap on the top of your car. So the top of the car, the top of the engine. So like this guy right here, he's taken off the top. He's got a funnel in it. That's going to create even flow. So rather than it going glub, 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 because it's trying to put air to restore the vacuum that it's creating as the oil drips out. If you crack the top, there's a hole in the top and it'll just drain straight out. But again, it comes out really fast. So watch out. When it's completely drained, you'll put the plug back in. Then you'll go over, find the filter, take the filter off, and then you're going to take some oil, put it around the ring, the O-ring for the next filter, put the filter back on, hand tight, make sure the drain pan is on there more than hand tight, and then you will put a funnel in the top like you're seeing in this picture and start pouring the oil in. It's literally that easy. So if you see this picture of the oil, it's brown, but it looks like, I don't know, super diluted coffee. Then you got a picture right here of the oil coming out. That is not diluted coffee. That is super dark brown or dark black coffee that you'd want to drink. That's old oil. How do I tell the difference like that? Now, this would still work. Obviously, it's working right now in the guy's car and they're changing it. But over time, the ability for it to do its job breaks down. If you use synthetic oil, you do get more time out of it. But it costs a lot more. So it's a trade-off. Do you want to do this oil change, save some money every 3,000 miles-ish? Yeah, you can use a cheaper oil. If you don't like doing it and you want to wait more, get the full synthetic. Now, when you go get an oil change, if you do full synthetic, it's going to cost you more as well. So all of this right here is going to save you easily $100 every time you do it. So just if you're unsure and you're local, you're in the gym, let me know. I will totally help you out. I know this works better as a video and not a audio podcast, but you're going to get some ideas. You're like, oh, I should show my kid that. Yeah. Or I should show my spouse that. Okay, so next one is recognizing the dashboard lights. Man, every dashboard is different. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at this. They give man, these guys make it so easy. There are pictures. Man, I'm not going to be able to describe these. I'll go fast here. And once I'll go to the main ones. There's just the big ones right here. So the thing that looks like, I'm going to say it looks like an engine, but it looks like it has a propeller on the front and top. That's going to be your check engine light. Yeah, that's a problem. Go look at that. There's another one that looks like a 9-volt battery. It's your battery. Check your battery. There's your coolant temperature. So coolant is different than your oil. You'll have the radiator there's a big block up front with fins, and the coolant moves through that to cool it off. There's usually a fan right there as well, and it's getting air from when you're driving. The air outside will always be cooler than your engine. So it's doing an air exchange and bleeding off that heat. So the coolant, it looks like a thermometer with 3 lines coming off it, like an F. You've got transmission fluid, so you have transmission temperature. It's the same picture, but instead it's got a gear around it rather than like oil or wavy lines. There's oil pressure. That's different. So it looks like the old tin can that they put on the Tin Man in Dorothy, Wizard of Oz. So that's your oil pressure. So as you lose oil, the pressure will drop. And so that light will come on. So that's a add oil type of thing. You're burning oil or leaking oil. There is a exclamation point with your brake system. There's a similar symbol with ABS. That's your anti-lock braking system. Something's wrong. If you've got fog lamps, you'll see, what does it look like? Kind of it looks like the shape of a headlamp. And then it gives you a road with some slashes on it because it's saying, hey, there's like fog you can't see on the road. Probably the bigger one is tire pressure. And this is what I would look for. You notice it's like, well, that doesn't look like a tire. No crap. It's saying your tire pressure with an exclamation point is off. So it's got tread with an upside down C, except the C is kind of fatter on the ends. When pressure is low, your tires look like that. If your tires look like that, you're pushing out the sides and just going to wear down your tire faster. So yeah, you should go check your tire pressure. Just put some air in there. That's easy. Washing fluid. I didn't really talk about that one. Washing fluid is not pressure. So you can fill it up to the top and it'll be totally fine. If you don't really care about squeegeeing your windows, then whatever. I think I've got doing your blades on here next. So I'll talk about that then. What else? Oh, an indicator. Many people don't know this, but your fuel gauge, the dashboard lights usually tells you what side with an arrow that your fuel tank is, so the opening. So if you were like me back in the sales days, I rented a lot of cars and I would forget, like, how do I fill up the car and pull into the wrong thing? It shows you with an arrow. So just look at the dashboard and you'll be able to see that. Okay, windshield wipers. This is an easy one. Y'all should do this on your own. It literally takes like 3 minutes. If you're like, for me, I have to get a stand because I can't too short for the truck, but it's usually a push-pull system. It's hard to describe. Go watch a video. This is probably the cheapest thing you can do and one of the nicest safety aspects. So if your windshield wipers aren't working, just pull into any auto parts store and say, I have got that car that's right out there. Come look at them. Tell me what wipers to get. And they may even install them for you right there, but it's super easy. It's like I said, it's just a push to get it off and then a pull to slide it back on. And there might be a little tab that you have to depress to get them to come off. See if I can see. Yeah, there's this guy's pressing that button right there. And yeah, so like he's sliding it in and out. So typically you have to slide the whole casing through the arm and then tilt it and then slide it back up the arm to engage the tab. Super easy one to do. Everyone should know how to do that. Let's see. Fluid in your car. Man, I don't know. Every car is going to be different on this. Oil. And if your car's hot, I wouldn't open anything. Your antifreeze is going to be in the radiator up front, and it's under pressure. If you open that when it's hot, it'll blow hot antifreeze all over you and you can burn yourself. So don't do that. Oil, same thing. It's not going to pop out at you, but because it's not that much pressure. It's at a larger casing. I would go for the dipstick instead. You might have a transmission fluid, but usually they're all labeled. Like this guy right here says, hey, this is your power steering fluid. And I guess the piece that I really would look at, let me look at this, is a little bit better. So they'll say hot max, hot min. So what does that mean? Yeah, so it's under pressure. So watch the F out. Don't open this thing if it's under pressure, right? So as it gets hot, PV equals nRT. The pressure's got to go somewhere. And if you pop the top, it might blow out on you. But it also, on this guy, has a cold max and a cold minimum. And if you notice, they're super tight. There's not much wiggle room. So just be aware. It doesn't take much. And when you go somewhere, typically you could say, hey, change my oil and fill up all the stuff. Yeah, they'll do that for you. But you could just buy it and fill it up yourself just in the morning before you turn your car on. Look, and then fill things up. If you're unsure, take a picture of it, put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, what should I do? The reason I'm saying this is, hey, wait, Andy, you're telling me to spend time, check things, and pay money for things? Yes, because it's going to save you money. It's preventative maintenance. This is what you do. If you never do stuff to your car, it's not going to last long. Do stuff. Take care of it. All right. Average cost of an oil change. It did that in PV equals nRT. Oh, I think I might have made it to the end. 31 minutes. Dang. I am a talker. Okay. So understand the oil or the maintenance of your car. If you look up, like, man, I could probably type in what is the standard spelling maintenance. I don't know how to spell that. Of a Ford F-150. Oops. F-150. 2019 Platinum, and it'll probably give me what it is. I don't even have to be smart and go look it up in the manual. It's just going to tell me. Yeah, it's telling me right there. So engine and oil filters. Wow, every 10,000 miles. What? Tire rotation. I don't really do that as often as I should. That's a good one. Rotate your tires around. It'll last longer. Air filters, there are cabin filters, brake fluid, spark plugs. Yeah. So I usually will pull it in for a big one like this 100,000 is saying, hey, do all these things. Hey, I'm going in for 100,000. Do everything on the list just in case I ever missed it. Rotate the tires, all that stuff. So I do pay for that one because there are things you just can't do. Like I don't own a timing belt. I'm not going to replace that on my own. I don't have the premium tools to change your oil. It's not a premium tool. Probably the biggest thing is an oil catch pan and then a funnel. That's the premium tools. I take that back. Sometimes it is hard to get the filter off, and it's great to have a grab nabber. I don't know what you call it, a filter taker offer. It's just got some teeth on it, and you wrap it around, you give it a yank, and it's going to grab onto it and then give you a little extra leverage. Okay. Recognize problems in your car. If you hear squealing, grinding, vibrations, or it's pulling, or the pedals the brake doesn't work quite right, that could be brake problems. That can be deadly. My sister did change her brake pads out herself. It's really not that hard. You just have to take the time to do it. If you've ever changed the brake pads on a new bike that has disc brakes, it's similar. Not exactly, but it's similar. If you're unsure, maybe find a friend that knows how to do it and do it with you, because having your oil be a little bit off isn't a big deal. Having your brakes not actually work is a big deal, but it's not terribly tough. You can watch some videos on it and see, oh, I can do that. And brake pads will save you tons of money if you do that right. Or not right. If you do it right, it definitely saves you money. If you do it yourself, it'll save you a ton of money. We do have people in the gym like Andy Perez who has a auto shop. So ask him, bring your car to him and say, in addition to doing it, show me what you're doing so I can learn. I would understand where in your car where the different fluids would go, especially windshield wiping fluid. It's super cheap. Buy it from anywhere. You can buy them at your grocery store and just have it in the garage and fill that puppy up. Don't drive around with crap on your windshield. That's just annoying and just terrible. I would carry some things in my car. So in addition to all that, now I'm going to tell you to spend some money. But it's because if you don't have these things, you have to spend a lot of money to get out of a problem. So jumper cables, extra long jumper cables, not just any jumper cables. If you're going to go ahead and get them, get the extra long ones, because it's always, you're going to have a problem or someone's going to have a problem and you're not going to be able to put your cars front to front. it's just going to be tough. So if you get the extra long cables, you never have to worry about that. I would have a flashlight. I would not put the batteries in the flashlight because they're going to corrode over time. I would take those, make sure they're apart so they don't touch and they don't corrode. Some way to inflate your tire. So you could buy a can of compressed air, or you can get one that plugs into I was going to say the cigarette lighter adapter, but they don't really have those anymore. So how would you do that? I guess you'd have to charge it up. I would have some sort of first aid kit because you never know. For the truck, I have tow straps. For normal cars, I don't know if I would have tow straps. I think if I'm going to tow a car, I would just call AAA or a service. And I really don't know the value of AAA anymore, because with your cell phone, you can find things so easy. It used to be you'd pull out a map and be I don't know where I am and what can I find? You call AAA and they're like, where are you? And you tell them and they're like, we've got everything. We know where everything is. But the internet does that for us. Gloves, a rain jacket, and maybe some extra cables for your cell phone. That would probably be the biggest things that I would need. I probably would also, I do. I carry a 5-gallon gas can. It's empty just in case I mess up and I need to get gas. I have that because if you don't have anything to put it in, it's hard to carry gas. Is it 5-gallon? It might be. Yes, a small one. It's definitely not 1 gallon. That would be way too small. Maybe it is a 1 gallon, actually. It's pretty small. I'm thinking about a gallon of milk. It might be a 1 gallon thing. And then I've got a backpack with some other things in it. Have I ever used them? No, but it's a just in case if I have to pull off to the side, if something does go awry. I think in today's time, it's pretty hard to get in so much trouble that you can't get help because cell phones kind of work everywhere now. So maybe that would be the biggest thing, is make sure you always have battery being charged in your car for your cell phone so that if something happens, you can just take that and, charge your own phone up and walk away. Anyway, my point in all of this is your home and your car are some of the biggest things you'll ever buy. And most people don't know anything about their home or their car. They don't do any maintenance on them. And they're like, what? I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm nervous. Don't be afraid or nervous. YouTube loves to show you this stuff. I love to show you this stuff. If you're actually, you know what I should do for members is do oil changing lesson day. So just pick a day when it's not crazy hot outside and say, hey, we're going to change our oil. Well, you know what? That wouldn't really work because you have to drive to the gym. Maybe it's drive to the gym, work out, let your car cool for an hour, and then we change it. Because I'm not touching a hot engine. That's just terrible. I am 0 for 100. Yeah, 0 for 100 on not getting oil on myself. I always get oil on myself when I change it. So there's just no way for me not to burn myself if you had a hot oil in your car. So, okay. Hopefully, guys, that is helpful. Hopefully you hear some things and go, I should try that. Or if you're a member, hey, Andy, can you come help me? Yeah, of course I will come over there and help you. I would just say be prepared. If you don't have all the stuff, if you haven't bought it and you haven't watched the videos and you're saying, Andy, come help, I'm going to be super irritated that you haven't done anything. So please, before you ask me to help, know where the oil filter is on your car. Know where the oil, I don't know, the dipstick and the opener, the top is. Know the basic stuff. I'm happy to help, but don't be helpless. The internet makes it super impossible to not know anything. And then the AI bots, you could probably be like, here's my car, here's my engine. Actually, I know you can do that. Give me a picture with an arrow that shows where I need to pull the dipstick, right? And it'll I've done that before. It'll show you where it is. It's super useful. Okay, so yeah, how to save money. That's a big part of what we do. Fitness, food, and finance. If you can save your money, that's another way to be wealthy. Just don't spend it. That's the way to go. I'm not saying don't do fun things to spend your money. I'm saying don't do stupid stuff to spend your money on. Be a little bit smarter. Be involved with the food you grow. I have chickens. Would I recommend you guys have chickens? No. Yeah, I would probably say get 2 hens and a dog house and let them live there and see how it goes. There's just maintenance goes with it. If you're going to keep them small in a small living space like that, you're going to have to fix the poopiness of it, right? If you get a bigger area, then they may not, they can poop more places, but you're still going to have to do something about that. Be involved in your food. What does it take for a chicken to lay an egg? You can create food on your own. Easier might be growing a garden. I really hate growing gardens, so I don't recommend that one. Some people really love it. I don't know. I'm no good. I do have a volunteer garden right now, so they're growing tomatoes, watermelon, squash, and peppers. And I didn't have to do anything because it was already there. The seeds dropped from last year. Do something. Be part of the solutions in your life. Don't be a victim in the things that you need. Your house, your home, your rental, whatever, your car is what allows you to accumulate wealth, right? If you didn't have a place to put down roots and you just gypsied all the time, it kind of gets hard to really, well, maybe not these days. You can accumulate wealth virtually, but stability typically lends itself to affluence, whether it's your health or your wealth. If you are stable, not just in location, but in food sources and emotional, it becomes a lot easier to continue the value of compounding and let that stuff grow, both health and financially. All right, guys. Hey, this is Andy McCann here at CrossFit Garage, where some people do call me and say, how much for an oil change? And as a business owner, I tell them it's $1,000. And while you're here, you can work out. They're like, why so much money? I'm like, yeah, because we're a gym and not a car garage. Nobody has ever taken me up on that, but you can. All right, y'all take care.